Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video in which we're going to be going over... We're going to change this up a little bit because I've been doing a lot of wins. I've been showing a lot of like games that we've just won over time, but I feel like it's really important to show along the journey a game that we lost. And I'm going to be playing Arcane Mage, Windwalker, Monk, and Restoration Druid against Fire Mage, Arms Warrior, and Holy Paladin. This comp that we're fighting is known to be the counter comp, and it's actually Seth's teammates, Majidin and Finger Global, aka Brian. And they're playing with Revo, and they fight us, and I feel like this was a pretty solid game, and I think I know the mistakes and where they are and why we lost this. But just real quick to kind of go over why it's a counter comp. Fire Mage is really hard to kill overall. It's just really hard to kill. Holy Paladin offers a lot of utility and helps Fire Mage stay alive really well, and we can't really swap to Holy Paladin because they have Divine Shield, they have their shield wall, they've got a lot, they've got melee wings to keep them alive, like they have a lot in order to survive, and Arms Warrior is just like permanently immune to death because they have 20% overall reduced damage with defensive stance, right? So just right out the bat, we want to be offensive here, so we just use Mark of Alunith. I don't use Arcane Power and Presence of Mind on Finger Global, but we use Mark of Alunith, and Seth uses his damage onto the Holy Paladin just to get the game rolling and to force out melee wings pretty quickly. And we were able to like get that setup out. We got Touch of Death on him, but as you can see, the shield wall is right there, and that means reduced damage for Finger Global, which means that we can't actually do a whole lot to him. But we do get feared, we do get broken up, and there's not a whole lot going out in terms of damage onto Finger Global past that, but we did get melee wings. So as long as melee wings is running, as soon as that runs out, we're going to have a window to be forcing a lot of pressure on Majidin, which is really nice, and I still have my damage, my Arcane Power, and Presence of Mind. Okay, so I've got a couple of stacks of the Arcane Missiles procs. I'm trying to juke out Counterspell, but it doesn't actually work. I get interrupted, which is super bad, and they're trying to swap over onto our Restoration Druid, but our Restoration Druid knows that it's coming, and he sees it, and we're okay. So this is where we go offensive. We actually get a half clone onto Finger Global, into an Arcane Torrent, Blood Elf Silence. Majidin blinks in, which is really nice for us because it allows us to continue our pressure. He can't get away, and he's not really trying to peel a whole lot. So I do get a half sheep onto Revo. He does trinket it, and then I Frost Nova him and run downstairs, but I get super low because honestly, like a little bit of uptime from Warriors onto Arcane Mages is just a crazy amount of damage. Like they can pretty much solo me, and that's actually what he does to me later. And one mistake we made here that really didn't like change the game because there wasn't a whole lot of pressure in the next minute or so, but we did get Iron Bark out after I ice blocked, right? So we overlapped those cooldowns, which is super bad. And right now they're trying to swap over to Starfail, get some pressure on him. It doesn't really work out. I build my Arcane charges back, and now we start to pressure Majidin really well. He's out of position, he doesn't have blinks, and we have a pretty solid amount of damage. I don't have a whole lot, but we have enough, right? We get a bash on a Finger Global, and we immediately get a 3-person Resonance Arcane Barrage, which forces out Ice Block from that 1 million cooldown, right? Finger Global gets out of his clone, and at this point, my job is to run away. I have to run. Melee Wings is active on Finger Global. They have their stun DRs up. We can't really peel Revo because he has Spell Reflection, and there's just not much we can do at this point. I Mass Invis about a second late. I think if I Mass Invis just a little bit earlier, I would have been safe here, but instead I get Storm Bolted, which is super sad, and they get a really nice connect onto me. Sharpen comes out, but we do get Fist of Fury onto Revo, so he can't one-shot me right there, and Starfail jumps down and gets hodged, which is super unlucky for me, right? So there's not much I can do at this point, and he actually does get full sheeped out of this, which is also unlucky because we both can't peel it. Seth was in a Nova, and at this point, I get a really nice Klepto off. So I get a really nice Spellsteal Klepto onto the Mage, which allows me to get a ton of heals, and then I also pull off a move where I displace back from Revo's charge. He only has one charge, he's not playing double time, and I start casting Polymorph into him, knowing that he's going to Spell Reflect me, so I actually get some really nice heals onto myself after Sharpen Blade ends, right? So I sheep myself, I get about 1-2 ticks of health, which is about 20%. Majin has a full Blessing of Protection, and since I'm playing Klepto, I can't Spell Steal this. There's just nothing you can do about that. That's just part of the matchup. So he's sitting in Blessing of Protection, and I'm just LOSing him for a little bit. And at this point, this is about where I die. We try to go onto Finger Global out of desperation, force out Bubble, and get another cooldown out, or even try to kill him without Bubble. And he just bubbles, so he's fine. There's really not much we can do about that, and there's also a War Banner down, so we can't CC the enemy team. And then at this point, my job is to run around, right? So this, I think actually just like what I just did right there, I think that's what lost us the game. Ironbark went out a little bit too early. I wasn't stunned during this Ironbark going out, and Starfield did it because he was being CC'd in that time. So he probably felt like that was the only opportunity for him to press Ironbark and try to do it preemptively. But Revo didn't stun me. They didn't connect as that Ironbark was happening. So they kind of waited a little bit, and then I used all of my blinks. Okay, I don't know if that was like a panic, or I felt like I could get away, or whatever it was. I can't remember my thought process, but I actually used 3 blinks there. I used two shimmers and a displacement, whereas I feel like if I saved those, I probably could have survived after the Stormbolt wouldn't have died. But instead, I have no blinks, we have no Ironbark, Starfield gets full hodged, and they all are running at me trying to connect. Revo actually gets me, and I can't cast Polymorph because he'll have Spell Reflection and Pummel, and I can't like blink away to get that Polymorph to land, right? So at this point, I use my invisibility, and I try to pre-invisibility the stun, which I actually do pretty well. And invisibility gives you like a small reduced damage amount. That was like the only thing I could really do at this point. And Starfield's full CC'd, and like all I can do is actually just take this damage. And Revo pretty much just solos me. The mage does no damage to me. I try to cast Polymorph. He has Spell Reflect. I can't do anything about it, and he actually just executes me, and I die after Sharpened Blade, which is super unfortunate. So a couple things that we could have done better there. One, our Ironbarks are definitely a little bit mistimed. I think both of them that were on me, there might have been 3, but I know at least 2 of them were a little bit too early. One was overlapped, and the other one was just too early. And overall, I feel like maybe that switch to Finger Global probably didn't help us a whole lot. I think we probably should have just gone for CC and then gone for straight damage on Mageddon. But overall, this was a pretty solid game. There was just a couple mistakes, and since this is probably the best team that was queuing Fire Mage, Arms Warrior, and Holy Paladin at the time, it was really, really hard for us to beat them because they're so well versed in their classes and also the team comp and playing with each other. So, you know, a team that plays really well, it's going to be very difficult for us to beat them. And we actually lost twice to them out of the 2 times we fought them that evening, but we were able to beat other Fire Mage, Warrior, Paladin teams that just weren't as good as this team. So overall, you know, I just want to share this game with you. I feel like losing is definitely a part of this process of getting rank 1 or getting Gladiator or whatever it is, and you have to be able to see what you did wrong and just get better at it. I feel like if I saved my blinks, I probably would have been able to survive on my own there. So that does sum it up for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry it's not a win for all you guys who like to just see me win Arena, but this is something different that I wanted to do, and I wanted to show you guys this, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys all next time. So be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for future uploads, and you can also leave a like and comment on this video with your thoughts. It's definitely the best way to support this series. So thank you so much for guys, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching.